Sometimes, identifying a manufactured tragedy requires just one simple calculation. On the night of December 13th, 2025, former Lugari MP and Cabinet Secretary Cyrus Jirongo died in a car crash along the Nairobi-Nakuru Highway in Naivasha. The news spread fast, online debates followed, and as always when a prominent figure dies, questions emerge. Because deaths of powerful individuals do not end with a police report.
Mercedes wakati aliingia hakugive way.
They demand more than what we are told, more than what we are shown, and more than what we are expected to believe.
The IG knows exactly who killed Juma.
Especially in the case of a man whose political and business history intersected with some of the most powerful and untouchable figures in the country. Tonight, we are not here to speculate. We are here to calculate. Our analysis begins at 11:30 p.m. on December 12th, 2025, and ends at 2:19 a.m. and 25 seconds. At the Karen Oasis Hotel, Cyrus Jirongo was last seen with friends. According to witnesses, he said he was heading home to Gigiri. He then left the hotel alone. But our investigation shows that he did not take a direct route home. Instead, his vehicle moved toward Langata Road, then diverted onto Magadi Road. At 11:50 p.m., the DCI Forensics placed Jirongo's car at Park Place, a bar and restaurant along Magadi Road. Here, something unusual happens. According to the security officer on duty, the vehicle entered the premises, remained stationary for approximately 2 minutes and then left, without the driver speaking to anyone, without lowering the window. This is now 20 minutes after he left Karen Oasis. Which raises critical questions. Was Cyrus Jirongo still the one driving? Was he alone in the vehicle? And what happened during those missing minutes? Between 11:30, he left Karen Oasis, and 11:50 when he arrived at Park Place along Magadi Road. Those 20 minutes, what happened? For over 2 hours, his movements disappear. Then, at 2:19 a.m., his vehicle appears again, this time at Eagle Petrol Station, Naivasha, along the Nairobi-Nakuru Highway. He does not stop. He does not engage. He passes through the station and re-enters the highway. A few seconds later, a Probox vehicle follows behind. Moments later, the fatal collision occurs. This is where forensic analysis becomes critical. Using satellite imagery and CCTV positioning, we mapped the exact location of the crash and the camera that captured it. From this vantage point, the road layout, traffic flow, and vehicle movement become clear. This analysis allows us to ask not what happened, but how it happened, and whether it aligns with a normal driving error, or something else entirely. Tonight, we walk through this evidence together, frame by frame, calculation by calculation, and by the end, you decide. After hours of eating, drinking, and talking with friends late into the night, logic suggests one thing: rest. That is why a 90-kilometer night drive in the early hours of the morning immediately raises questions. Why Naivasha? What altered the course of his night? And who was in control of that vehicle? Walk with me. One critical question emerges from the footage. Was Cyrus Jirongo the one driving the car? At this stage, we do not speculate. We analyze. The vehicle involved is a Mercedes-Benz, a right-hand drive configuration standard in Kenya. This means the driver's seat is on the right and any front passenger sits on the left. As the car approaches the CCTV camera, the footage is paused and carefully examined. What becomes visible is striking. On the left front seat, a clear human silhouette appears, a distinct head and shoulders outline, a shape consistent with a seated person. Stable in position relative to the vehicle body. Reflections move. Occupants do not. The silhouette remains steady as the vehicle moves, indicating a physical presence, not light distortion. We cannot identify the individual, but we can say, with confidence, that someone was seated in the front passenger seat. And since the vehicle was in motion, logic dictates that a driver was present on the right-hand side. This leads to a critical forensic finding. At least 2 people were inside the vehicle. Yet after the crash, only Cyrus Jirongo is found deceased inside the car. Which leads to another unavoidable question. Where was the other person? Now we examine the most critical moment. As the Mercedes exits Eagle petrol station and makes a U-turn toward Nairobi, something unusual happens. Instead of merging correctly into the left-hand lane, as required by Kenyan traffic rules, the vehicle enters the wrong lane. There is no traffic jam. The road is largely clear. No hazard lights are engaged. No indicators signal distress or confusion. The movement is calculated, not chaotic. Moments later, the vehicle comes to a complete stop, still in the wrong lane. Not swerving, not accelerating, not attempting correction. It simply stops. From the footage, the Mercedes appears positioned, silent, stationary, and exposed. As the climax bus approaches, another detail demands attention. The Mercedes remains motionless. The bus, however, does not slow down. Frame by frame, its speed increases as it closes the distance. This acceleration is consistent, deliberate, and sustained. In physics, speed determines impact force. Greater speed equals greater damage. The bus reaches the stationary Mercedes at maximum momentum. The collision is catastrophic. This investigation does not accuse. It calculates, and the calculation presents us with facts that cannot be ignored. A 2-hour disappearance, an unexplained journey to Naivasha. At least 2 occupants visible before the crash. A vehicle that enters the wrong lane deliberately. A car that stops and waits. A bus that accelerates into impact. These are not conclusions, they are observations. And together, they raise one final question. Was this a tragic accident, or a sequence that demands deeper accountability? Those who plan such operations always study the aftermath before they act. They calculate public reaction in advance. They anticipate outrage, sympathy, confusion, and then they execute their mission with those reactions in mind. What they often underestimate are the small details, the overlooked gaps. And it is precisely those loopholes that expose them. We believe that while Cyrus Jirongo was at Karen Oasis, he was under surveillance. It is possible that among the people seated near him, perhaps even among those he was dining with, there were individuals whose sole purpose was to watch, track, and report his movements. Our assessment indicates that immediately after Jirongo left Karen Oasis at approximately 11:30 p.m., he was already in the hands of his killers. Shortly thereafter, the Mercedes-Benz associated with him arrived at the Park Place Hotel. At the gate, security followed standard protocol and requested the occupants to lower the windows. This request was ignored. The vehicle remained silent, the windows fully raised. This is significant. Park Place is a 5-star hotel. Any vehicle entering must identify itself, either as a guest vehicle or one dropping off a passenger. Refusal to lower the windows is not only unusual, it is suspicious. 2 minutes later, the vehicle reversed and left the premises without anyone seeing who was inside. This raises a critical question. If Cyrus Jirongo himself had been driving, would he have refused to lower the windows? The behavior strongly suggests that he was not in control of the vehicle. Either he was already incapacitated, restrained, or he was no longer inside the car at that moment. One thing, however, is clear. He was not the one driving. According to gate security, the vehicle was also driving erratically. It failed to indicate while turning and appeared tense and hurried. The car never entered the hotel compound. Forensic analysis by the DCI placed Jirongo's vehicle at Park Place Hotel. However, hotel management maintained that Jirongo never entered the premises. Both statements can be true. The car reached the gate, but it did not gain entry. What remains unclear is what the perpetrators intended to do at Park Place. Whether it was a planned handover point, a diversion, or a contingency location remains unanswered. From 11:53 p.m., when the Mercedes-Benz left Park Place, to 2:19 a.m., when it was later spotted at Eagle petrol station in Naivasha, there is a critical window of approximately 2.5 hours. We believe this is when Cyrus Jirongo was killed. During this period, the vehicle was driven toward Naivasha. Meanwhile, a bus, already part of the scheme, was approaching from behind. A probox followed closely, which we believe carried accomplices coordinating the operation. Our findings suggest that by the time the vehicle reached the final location, Jirongo was either already dead or severely beaten into unconsciousness. His body was placed on the front left-hand side of the vehicle. The driver then deliberately positioned the car in the wrong lane, left the engine running, and quietly exited the scene. This was the final stage of the manufacture. Throughout this process, we believe the driver was in constant communication with the bus driver. That communication culminated in what the public later saw: the bus approaching at high speed, completing the fatal collision. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our findings. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. Let us have a robust discussion. Until our next episode, goodbye for now.